I was one signature away from signing my life into the hands of people who wanted me destroyed. And the only person who tried to stop me was the woman everyone in my building stepped around like she was invisible. Tell me something if a cleaning lady leaned in behind your chair during a billion-naira deal and whispered, "Don't sign." Would you actually listen, or would you call security? My name is Raymond Okafor, and this is not just a story about money or betrayal. This is the day I learned that the person at the bottom of the ladder may be the only one seeing clearly, while the rest of us choke on our own pride. That afternoon in Lagos, the heat made the sky look like it was vibrating sunlight, bouncing hard off the glass walls of Okafor Holdings, that tall tower with my name on it, that people pointed at from the street and said, "That man made it," inside the top-floor boardroom. The air smelled like cologne, polished wood, and quiet arrogance. My directors were laughing too loudly, straightening their ties, already tasting the champagne that was sweating on the side table in a silver bucket. Cameras were set up, the titanium industries, people were in their imported suits, and everything was designed to say one thing: this is a done deal. I was in my late 30s, tailored navy suit, dark tie, the kind of watch that used to mean something to me. I'd worked for every piece of it, no rich father, no magic investor, just a long road of humiliation, sacrifice, and stubbornness. Across the table sat Marcus from Titanium, light-skinned, sharp eyes, accent rolling like he owned the room next to me. Leaning in with that easy grin I'd trusted for 15 years was my best friend and business partner, Ben. We started with 2 laptops that overheated every hour and cheap noodles on a plastic table while mosquitoes ate our ankles. And now we were here. Guy, Ben whispered low enough that only I heard him. After today, we are untouchable. Untouchable. Funny word in hindsight. Everyone believed this merger would put us in a different league. International access, deeper pockets, solid backing. They said I'd be one of the most powerful men in the country. And I believed them, or at least I wanted to, because when you've dragged yourself up from nothing, there's a part of you that never wants to feel small again. You know what I mean. Marcus slid the contract across the table, thick and heavy, the paper itself screaming serious business. "Mr. Okafor," he said smoothly, "once you sign, Okafor Holdings will officially merge with Titanium Industries. Congratulations in advance." Applause flashes, phone cameras raised, even my own board looked at me. Not like a colleague, but like I was a monument they helped build. I picked up the pen, everything I'd built, every job I'd created, my family's name, my dreams, all of it sat inside that signature. And the second that pen tip touched paper, the door opened. "Sorry, sir, I'll just clear the trash quickly." Pattern interrupt. The whole room shifted its attention toward that small voice. It was one of the cleaners in a plain blue uniform with a simple scarf tied neatly around her hair. Rose, I'd seen her around, of course, pushing her cart, holding doors, moving like she was apologizing for existing in places like ours. People step around women like her like they're part of the furniture. Ben muttered, "Can't they schedule this later?" Under his breath, Marcus looked offended that someone with a mop had entered his atmosphere. But she didn't flinch, she just lowered her eyes slightly. "I'll be very fast, sir." She moved along the wall, collecting bins, swapping bags, quiet, careful. Nobody paid attention. Because in rooms full of power, people assume the powerless are deaf, blind, and dumb. That was their first mistake. When she reached my chair, she bent down to pick up the bin beside me, one hand on the plastic, the other adjusting the liner like she'd done it 1,000 times. No drama, no scene. Then she leaned in just a fraction. "Sir," she whispered, her voice so low, it felt like it slipped straight into my spine. "Don't sign. It's a trap." I felt my hand go numb. The pen slipped from my fingers and hit the table with this sharp little click that cut right through the noise. I turned my head and looked at her. She was already standing back up, eyes down like nothing had happened. "What?" I breathed. She didn't respond, didn't look at me, just pushed her cart out of the room. "Ray, you good?" Ben asked, still wearing that brotherly smile. Marcus chuckled politely. Just a little tension, eh, Mr. Okafor? We can continue. Every camera, every eye, every expectation was on me again, and in the middle of it, this one impossible sentence from a woman nobody respected. It's a trap. If it were you, what would you have done? I need 5 minutes, I heard myself say. The whole atmosphere stiffened. 5 minutes for what? One of the directors asked, half laughing. I need to handle something quickly, I said, keeping my voice steady. Marcus pushed. We have already finalized all the terms, Mr. Okafor. There is nothing more to check. I met his eyes. Something inside me was restless. 5 minutes, I repeated, and I walked out before they could push again. The hallway outside felt cooler, quieter, like the building itself was waiting for my choice. Rose was walking slowly toward the elevators, pushing her cart like it was any other day. You, I called out sharper than I intended. She stopped, turned quickly. Yes, sir. Come with me, I said. I led her into a small break room near the pantry and closed the door behind us, just me in a custom suit, and this woman in a cheap uniform that didn't hide how tired her eyes were. What did you mean, don't sign? I demanded. Do you know what kind of meeting that is? Are you trying to joke with your job because I can end this for you today? Her hands shook a bit, but when she spoke, her tone was steady, respectful, like she was holding herself in place with sheer will. I know it sounds crazy, sir, she said, but please listen to me. They are setting you up. They who? I snapped. Your partner, she said quietly. Mr. Ben and the titanium people. I almost laughed. Ben, my Ben. The boy who split bread with me when we had nothing. The man who signed guarantees with me when the bank didn't believe in us. You don't know what you're talking about, I said. I clean this building in the evenings, she replied. People forget we are there. I have heard conversations, seen documents. There are 2 versions of your contract in the one you know. You keep control in the one they want you to sign. You lose your company within days. I have proof. There was no drama in her voice. No attempt to sound clever. Just this quiet fear lined with certainty. If you're lying, I told her, if you're trying to play some game, I'll make sure you never work here again. She swallowed, then nodded. If I stay quiet and they destroy you, I'll never forgive myself. Meet me here at 7 p.m. I will bring everything. 7 p.m. with a cleaner, while the board and investors sat upstairs, wondering why the golden boy needed a bathroom break. Fine. I said 7, but if I don't see something real, that's it for you. I understand, she whispered. I walked back into that boardroom feeling like someone had tilted the floor. Marcus wanted to keep pushing. Ben wanted to laugh it off. The contract sat there, heavy and innocent. Actually, I said, closing it gently, I want to review a few clauses again. We'll postpone to tomorrow. You could feel the anger, the confusion. Marcus slammed his palm lightly on the table. You are making us look unserious, Mr. Okafor. Then let it be my mistake, I said, meeting adjourned. I left to a chorus of muttered complaints. That night, at 7 p.m., that tiny break room looked different. No office noise, just the hum of the AC and Legos glowing orange through the window. Rose sat on a plastic chair with a small backpack in her lap, like a student waiting for an exam result. She stood up when I walked in. Good evening, sir. I'm here, I said. Show me what you've got. She took out her phone, unlocked it, her hands trembling slightly. It started 3 weeks ago, she said. I was cleaning on the executive floor. I heard Mr. Ben in the next room with a woman. Her name is Victoria. The name hit me in the chest. Victoria, my ex, the one who left when my ambition wasn't shiny enough yet. The one who said I was too busy for her lifestyle. Rose hit play on an audio file. The sound wasn't perfect, some echo, some static, but the words were clear enough. Ben's voice, once he signs, we will have full control of his assets. Victoria's voice, are you sure he won't suspect? Ben Raymond is too trusting. It was true when you dated him. It's true now. My jaw clenched. I'd know Ben's tone anywhere. I'd know Victoria's laugh in a crowd of 1,000 people. Rose swiped through photos, screenshots, bank transfers from Titanium to Ben's personal account side documents, a version of the merger that slid my shares down to a minor vote. One sharp cut at a time, details that only a trained eye would catch. "How do you even see this stuff?" I asked. That was the first time she looked me fully in the eyes. "Because I'm not just a cleaner, sir." And that right there was the first twist. Later, I dug into her file the way I should have done from the start. And it matched what she said. Degree in business, corporate finance, former senior analyst pushed out, without a scandal. Just that quiet, corporate cruelty aimed at people from the wrong side of town, now taking whatever work she could. Because her younger sister Maria needed a heart surgery no one like them could afford alone. She warned me not because she wanted money, not because she wanted a position, but because she said I treated people decently, and she couldn't watch another man get cut down the way she'd been cut. You ever had a stranger care more about your life than the people you call family? Yeah, that happened. I barely slept. I went back over the contracts line by line, cross-checking with the screenshots. She'd shown me the discrepancies were real subtle, deliberate. Every discovery felt like a hand closing around my throat. The next day I tried to act normal, but you can't unsee betrayal once you've looked it in the eye. By late afternoon, Rose was cleaning on the upper floor. When she heard Ben and Victoria in the hallway, she told me this later, how she froze behind the door when she heard her name. How Ben said he'd watched the cameras and seen us talking, how he called her too smart for her own good. "I need to get rid of the cleaning lady," he said. "Not kill her. Would mess up his tie." His plan was cleaner than that. Accuse her of theft, plant a story, humiliate her in front of everyone. Make sure no one ever believed her if she opened her mouth about anything. You know that cold, shaky feeling when you realize being honest. Just put a target on your back. She felt that. That night, my phone buzzed with her message. "They know meet me at Riverside Cafe in 20 minutes, come alone." I went. She sat there small in the corner, but her eyes were blazing. "He's going to accuse me tomorrow morning," she said. "He'll say I stole from the offices, that I touched your files once. That happens. Anything I said to you becomes a lie in their eyes." I wanted to confront Ben right then, flip a table, end the friendship clean, but she grabbed my wrist and shook her head. "If you confront him now, he'll erase everything. He'll clean his tracks. He'll make it your word against his. Let him think he's winning. Let him play his show, we record." It wasn't a movie line, it was survival logic. "He's going to drag your name through the mud," I said. She shrugged, a little tired. "People like him think my name is mud already. If I stay quiet, I lose anyway. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind." The next morning, my chest was tight, my phone recording before I even reached my office. There is a special kind of heartbreak that comes with realizing the person sitting across from you is about to prove they were never who you thought they were. At 9 a.m., my assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Sir, Mr. Ben is here with the head of security. He says it's urgent." "Send them in," I said. Ben walked in with a rehearsed, serious-faced security chief Thompson behind him, and 2 guards. They closed the door. "Ray," he started, sounding heavy. "We have a situation, theft." He set down his tablet and swiped to show camera footage clips of Rose entering executive offices, standing near drawers, leaning toward desks. "In this one," he said, pointing. "She's at my drawer here, she's in Marcus's office, and here she's near your desk, where you keep that emergency USB with all your access codes." We opened my drawer. The USB was gone. Rose was brought in between 2 guards, pale but standing up straight. "Ms. Williams," Ben said, "you've been stealing from this company items from executives and sensitive data." "That's not true," she said, voice steady but thin. "I was cleaning. That is literally my job. At 6 p.m. alone in executive offices." Ben raised his brows, turned to me. "We cannot play soft with this. We have to make an example." If I didn't know what I knew, I might have believed him. I watched her for one long second, then looked at him. "Ben," I said slowly, "let me talk to you, outside." "There's no need," he pushed. "This is clear." "Outside," I repeated, and this time my voice left no room. We stepped into the hallway. He turned to me, annoyed. "Raymond, why are you dragging this? We have to protect ourselves." I looked at him, really looked. "Protect ourselves from who? From her, or from what you did with titanium?" His face twitched. I know about the 15 million that landed in your personal account, I said quietly. I know about the altered contract. The one that cuts me out. I know about you and Victoria and your plan to use me as your exit package. For a second, he tried denial, but his ego wouldn't let him commit to it. The mask slipped, and out came everything he had been hiding. You think this empire is just yours? He snapped. We built this together, but who gets all the shine? You. I'm tired of standing behind you like your assistant. So you decided to sell me and the company out. I said that was your solution. I decided to take what I'm owed. He shot back. If you sign, I win. If you don't sign, the deal fails and you suffer. I still have my money either way. I'm done being your shadow. That was it, jealousy dressed up as justice. I'm not signing, I said. He laughed. Then you're a fool. I tapped my jacket lightly, and you're recorded. His eyes widened. You didn't. I did, I said from the moment you walked in. He tried to recover. It won't stand in court. Maybe, I shrugged, but it will stand with the board, with the investors, and with economic crimes when they look at your transfers. We went back in. Release her, I told Thompson. Ms. Rose is not to be touched. Every accusation against her is false. Ben stepped forward, voice cracking. Ray, what are you doing? What I should have done the second you chose money over loyalty. I said, Ben, you're fired effective immediately. Security will escort you out. You have 30 minutes to clear your office. After that, it's trespassing. Silence again, but different now. Rose stared at me, stunned. Rose, I said, turning to her, my tone softening. You warned me when everyone else was ready to watch me fall. You saw what they thought you'd never recognize. How would you like a real position here, one that matches who you actually are? She blinked hard. Sir, I don't understand. I need a chief financial officer I can trust. I said, you have the skills, you have the spine, and you've already proven your loyalty. If you want it, it's yours. Her hand went to her mouth. Tears welled up, not staged, just raw. And your sister's surgery, I added. We're starting a company fund. We cover it, no negotiation. Now before you ride off into the fairy tale sunset with us, let me throw this at you. Do you think that's how it should work? Or did I jump too far? Do you think a woman mopping floors should be allowed to become CFO? If she has the degree and the courage, or should she stay in her place because other people feel uncomfortable? Do you think that's fair? 3 months later, Maria walked out of that hospital with color in her cheeks. 3 months later, Rose was walking through Okafor Holdings in a fitted suit signature on financial reports staff, greeting her as Ma. And she'd still stop to chat with the cleaners, the guards, the receptionist, like she'd never forgotten the uniform. Those 3 months, she cleaned our books, the way she used to clean our floors. Precise, thorough, relentless. She found holes, leaks, 2 more fraud schemes. She shut them down. Our profits went up. Our risks went down. And the same board that once ignored her existence voted to make her a partner. Okafor and Williams. People liked that headline. From cleaner to partner, inspirational, shareable. But behind it was something simple. She was always qualified. No one looked. Around this time, the space between us got complicated. Long nights over spreadsheets turned into real conversations, past pain, big dreams, shared silence. You can pretend feelings aren't there, but your eyes will snitch on you. One evening, as the sun dropped behind Lagos and painted the glass orange, she came to my office with an audit file. Everything is clear, she said, tired but satisfied. You realize you've transformed this place, I told her. She smiled gentle. We both did. Stop calling me sir, I said. You're my partner now. She laughed softly, old habits. Our eyes held for a moment, and I swear the air changed. Then my phone rang. Sir? My assistant said, Ben is back with Victoria. They've opened a new firm. They're reaching out to some of our clients. Of course they had. Their company, Titan Edge Holdings, made noise, fast, bold talk, glossy branding. But Rose and I had seen that script before. Stolen data, poached contacts, fake promises. We don't panic, she said, we document. So we did quietly, patiently, every stolen file, every shady transfer, every client pitch that used confidential information. We built a wall of facts. When Ben finally called a press conference to brag about being the new face of ethical innovation, certain evidence landed in the inboxes of the right journalists and the right investigators at the exact same time. By the end of that week, EFCC walked into Titan Edge cameras, followed people watched. As Ben and Victoria tried to shield their faces, the same man who wanted to brand a cleaner as a thief was now in handcuffs. Was it revenge or was it justice, you tell me? 1 year after The Whisper, we launched the Okafor and Williams Foundation. This time, the cameras in our lobby filmed children whose surgeries we funded students. We sponsored people from places no one cares about when they're writing guest lists. I stood on that stage, Rose beside me, Maria in the crowd, alive and grinning. A year ago, I said, I almost lost everything because I trusted the ones who smiled in front and ignored the one person who quietly told me the truth. If she hadn't spoken up, if I hadn't listened, none of us would be standing here today. I looked straight into the cameras. Never look down on the people who clean your floors, open your gates, carry your files, because sometimes they are the only ones seeing the cracks in your castle. The room clapped. Some people wiped tears. Online comments called it beautiful. But I don't want this to just feel beautiful. I want it to bother you a little. Because here's the part that stings. If Rose had been wrong, she'd be fired, disgraced, blacklisted for daring to speak. If I'd ignored her and signed hundreds of my workers, would have paid for my arrogance. If Ben had succeeded, the world would have called him smart, strategic, maybe even visionary, and Rose would still be that girl, pushing a cart past people who didn't see her. All of that decided by who we choose to believe. So I'm asking you now, not as some perfect hero, but as someone who almost ruined his own life in your world. Who do you trust, the one in the suit, the one with the title, or the one with nothing to gain by telling you the uncomfortable truth? If a cleaner, a guard, a driver, a waitress pulled you aside and said, "Something is wrong," would you listen or would you laugh? Do you think it was right that I made her CFO and partner? Or do you think she skipped some invisible line that others had a right to first be honest? Do you think Ben was born a villain? Or do you think envy, ego that need to be seen as the man, twisted him slowly until this felt justified? And the biggest question, have we really learned anything? Or are there still thousands of Roses out there being ignored while we clap for our Bens just because they speak better, dress better, know how to sell a lie? I want to hear from you. If this story hit you in any way, tap like so it reaches more people, share it with someone who has been overlooked or underestimated, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what you honestly think was what I did, right? Was it too much? Have you ever been in Rose's position or in mine, standing on the edge of a decision that could break everything? If it were you, what would you have done? Drop your thoughts below, argue with each other if you have to tell your own stories, because sometimes the only thing standing between justice and disaster is one quiet voice saying, "Don't sign," and the courage of the person on the other end to actually listen.